Hello and welcome to a very special Career Talk. I'm Lee Hopwood, CEO at the CCMA and host of this very live show where I chat to some of the incredible contact centre professionals that I come across through my work here at the CCMA. And why do I do this? I want to find out what makes them tick. I want to find out what their careers have been to date. And I also love hearing their stories, what got them into contact centres, and maybe where they might be looking at going. And joining me today is the newly crowned Contact Centre Leader of the Year 2024 from the UK National Contact Centre Awards earlier this week. It's Director of Customer Experience Management Services at SSCL. God, that was a long intro. It's Marco Ndrecaj. Hello, Marco. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
I am fabulous, thank you, and massive congratulations on winning gold on Monday. That was a really, really tough category. How
Honestly,
are you feeling?
Still buzzing. I'm so humbled and honoured to win such a prestigious award from such a prestigious organisation. So yeah, I still cannot believe it.
What's been happening this week? Have you had many people reach out to you?
You know what? It's been absolutely non-stop. My LinkedIn has gone absolutely nuts to start with. Emails, phone calls, WhatsApp. I've received some lovely messages coming down. I've received some messages from some professionals in Wales, where I'm based, and we're chuffed that finally we are bringing this trophy into Wales. I received messages from some old colleagues, family members from back in Albania. Oh, it's been incredible.
And what did your boss say?
Oh, my boss, my boss was absolutely chuffed. He had a bit more belief in me than I did going into it. It was pretty sure that I would come on top. I don't know why. I'm meeting him actually. It's his birthday next week, and I'm meeting him up in Newcastle, and we're going to have a drink to celebrate as well.
Oh, good for you. I've got a funny feeling you might have a few drinks to celebrate that one.
Probably, yeah.
So I want to find out a little bit more about you and what got you to be the Contact Centre Leader of the Year. I want to find out a little bit more about your career path and get to know you a little bit more as a leader. But first, I very, very recently learned that you are from Albania.
Yeah.
Tell us what brought you to the UK?
Yeah, I'm a proud Albanian. I was buzzing with the result against Croatia, to be honest with you, the other day. My parents, myself and my sister, we were refugees. We migrated from Albania in 2002. When we came here, we didn't really have anyone here, no connections. None of us could speak English apart from my sister.
Wow.
I very early started working because I wanted to support my family. I knew they were going through a hardship. I remember I managed to, my first ever job, I managed to get a job in a restaurant that was washing pots in a basement, believe it or not. And then my first ever promotion was going from a pot washer to a dishwasher. And then I had the luxury of using a washing machine. So it was great back then for me, because it was an opportunity that I didn't have before. I didn't have back home. And I was explaining to you earlier, Lee, when I used to take the pots and plates into the kitchen, I used to look at the floor, and I used to see all those individuals, mainly contact center professionals, because there used to be a hub of contact centers around, coming for their business lunches with their teams. And I always had this feeling, in my tummy, oh my God, how can I get myself there? I really, really want to get myself there. That was my aspiration. And I remember I made the decision to keep some of the salary, some of the monthly wage for myself 1 month, because usually I try and help my mom and dad. I went to Primark. I bought myself the cheapest suit I could find. And I went for a job interview in a contact center. It was hardcore sales. And I was chuffed. I got it, and the rest is history. That's where my career started in the contact center space about 20 years ago now.
Wow. And so did you start working, because I know you've got a degree, so did you start working and then get yourself a degree, or were you?
I was doing both. I was studying, and I would, as soon as I finished my studies, jump on the bus, go to work, I'd work on weekends as well, and then anytime that I could, have spare, instead of going out, I used to try and do my assignments. So it was pretty tough to start with, but that's what instilled the work ethic that I have. I know nothing comes easy, and I think that work ethic has really helped me get to where I am today.
So why did you do a degree while you were now working? You were now on your path. You were now suited and booted. Why did you go and get yourself a degree? You did an HND in business management and then a degree in business management at the University of South Wales.
Because there's always room for improvement. I'm a big believer of continuous learning. By equipping myself better, I knew I'd be able to, help myself to progress further, but also help my teams. I always wanted to lead by example, Lee. And even now, last year, I started a course with Oxford University, Said Business School, where I've done a course on artificial intelligence, because I know how important it is and how it will shape our industry moving forward. And I have a duty of care towards, my teams and the organization that I work for, to make sure that I'm fully equipped, I'm an expert in what I do, and that I lead my organization in the right direction.
Wow. So tell us about this first job. It was in sales.
Yeah, it was. It used to be, let's just say, different back then. Very, very hardcore.
What were you doing? Were you literally phone book?
Cold calls, selling all sorts. It used to be different back then. I remember at one stage, if you didn't hit the quota, and by the way, the organization I worked for is now on my LinkedIn, so I can say, if you wouldn't hit your sales quota, you wouldn't get a seat to sit until you deliver a certain amount of sales. So it was really tough, to be honest with you. But again, it made me grow that thick skin, and it also made me realize the importance of great leadership and the importance of actually treating individuals like you'd like to be treated. Because at the end of the day, the bonus I made in sales, it was great at the time, because financially I wasn't in a great place. But when someone would come and give me a pat in the back, that meant to me so much more. And again, that has shaped my leadership style.
So I find that, first of all, thank goodness contact centers have moved on massively since those days. But that seeing how you were treated that was not right is as big a lesson as seeing how you're treated that feels good. Exactly
that. I've done almost every role in the contact center space, and I truly believe that has made me the leader that I am today. I sit amongst my teams. I listen to calls. I ask advisors, what works, what doesn't work, and I take that on board. That is, I guess, what has helped us within SSCL to have an industry-leading attrition rate, Lee, because I know what it means to be treated the way you should. And for everyone to feel part of the overall mission, for everyone to have that purpose, instead of just feeling like a number in a spreadsheet.
What feedback have you had from your teams around your leadership style?
I know they are all scattered around the centers watching this live. So some great feedback. I mean, some of the messages that I received before the interview that I had with the judges for the Contact Center Leader of the Year You know, they almost got me a bit emotional, to be honest with you, to see the impact that that I made on people's lives. My focus, I didn't even want to go for that wordly, because my focus is about providing a strong platform and foundation for my team so they can grow and enhancing our brand in the industry. But they were adamant that I go for it. And I remember I said to the judges as well, I'm glad my team pushed me to actually participate. And this is my last dance. Let's see how I do.
and we were reflecting before we came on the call that there were categories that maybe you guys didn't do as well as you would have liked to have done, and that will be echoed across many people that were there on Monday night. But how you dealt with that, I was really impressed with how you dealt with that as a team. You said you went back into the office. Tell us what you did.
Yeah. So one of the ones was the large contact center culture. We were privileged and lucky enough to win gold in 2023. And not going to lie, we were thinking on the night, at least we'll place bronze, silver, or gold again. And we didn't for the one. When we came back, we done some head scratching and we realized that, maybe we became a bit complacent in that space. We focused too heavily on the win themes that we had from before. Now, we know our industry moves at a very, very, very fast pace. And it's a lesson. It's a lesson that we're going to take into next year, because we know there were areas that potentially we could have done better than we did when we presented on the day. Another one is the leadership one. We won silver for 2 years in a row now, and the team is very keen to learn from the winners if we can actually get a chance. Where they share some best practice, so we can see what do we need to improve on, so potentially we can get closer to that goal in the next few years to come.
And I think the way that you are handling that is another sign of how great a leader you are. That you are looking at, right, let's learn from this. Let's learn and let's see how we can get better and get stronger and get more efficient and everything else. Now, I want to come back to your career. So you spent quite a few years at Conduit.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because you progressed quite nicely and quite quickly through Conduit.
Yeah. Conduit as well. From a team manager, operations manager, head of operations. At the peak, I was leading a team of about 1,300 colleagues on behalf of some blue chip organizations. It was tough, different environment as well, tough clients at times, but I had an amazing team. I had an amazing leadership team, and we supported each other. We delivered some exceptional results. That was mainly sales as well, and customer service, but sales was one of the biggest drivers at the time, Lee. That really gave me the first taste for senior leadership, where I started managing and being fully responsible for profit and losses of 50 million plus turnover a year. And that's where I guess I had some of the biggest successes in terms of my leadership style with some individuals, because I nurtured some individuals, worked with them, and they ended up, spreading their wings and running their own organizations, which to this day I'm very, very proud about.
Wow. And what else did you learn during that time? So it's really lovely to hear your real focus on supporting individuals, which I guess someone must have supported you through those early years in your career.
I always say, to be a good leader, you have to be a sponge. I always made sure I put myself in a room with individuals that have more experience than me, or individuals that have done things I haven't done, so I can learn from them. I've taken so much from a lot of my previous managers and my current manager today, and I try to implement it into my leadership style. It's you have to lead. I mean, a lot of people overcomplicate leadership. I've learned I've learned that leadership is very simple if you think about it. There are three things that you need to focus on. First thing is be happy. Second thing is be an absolute expert in what you do. And third thing, make sure that your teams comply with 1 and 2. They are happy and they are experts at what they do, and they cascade it down.
So I'm going to have to ask you, what do you think you are an expert in?
What do an expert in?
What are you an expert in? Because you run a contact center operation, and there's so many different parts to that, from resource planning and quality and everything that's going on. You can't be an expert in all of that.
No. I'm learning every day. I'm a bit of a geek, and I like to study other organizations. I like to study other leaders, and I do quite a bit of it. I do quite a bit of reading, and I do quite a bit of analysis, theory versus what's actually happening in the industry. So that really equips me with my decision making. I never do things just because I feel like doing things. I always focus on principles to actually get us from A to B. I'd like to think the people management side of things is one of my biggest strengths. I always focus on elevating people. I always focus on understanding what makes people tick. And I always take people on a journey with me. But I always ask people to give me feedback. If I'm doing something wrong, please tell me, because the reason why we have individuals and the reason why I have a leadership team is the diversity that we bring and how we complement each other. So it is that open communication, isn't it?
And do you know what? It was a fully loaded question, because that, for me, is the answer I was looking for. Is that your expertise is not necessarily in the detail that is within the contact center. Your expertise is in being a leader in the contact center, knowing which buttons to push, which levers to pull, fully loaded with all of the insights that you have, so that you can be the best leader.
And when to give the full trust to your team as well, because I have a team of experts, a team of SMEs, and a lot of times when it comes to the technical detail, I rely on their expertise, to actually lead us to where we need to be.
So how did you land your job at SSCL? So you went from Conduit. I think you had a few other experiences along the way.
Yeah, I've done some consultancy. I worked with some big brands driving digital acceleration, implementing different softwares, SaaS, and so on and so forth. I was actually headhunted for the SSCL role. A recruiter got in touch with me, asked if I was interested. At the time, I actually had 2 offers from 2 other well-known BPO providers in the UK. I'll be honest with you, I had never heard of SSCL until the recruiter got in touch with me, so that intrigued me.
To be honest with you, Marco, I think you've probably done quite a lot for the SSCL brand in UK contact centres.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the strategy, Lee, because again, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm well connected. I do study the market. I never heard of SSCL. So I got to learn a bit more about what they do. I got to meet some of the people. I went through the interview process, and I absolutely fell in love with the organization. I fell in love, with the people, what they stood for, what the purpose was, and the impact that this organization has across the country. And I really, really wanted to be a part of it. And I feel absolutely privileged that I get to play a part now in what SSCL does out there. Literally, I've never seen a purpose like we have here. When we went through CCMA framework accreditation, one of the things that stood out for me when I read the report, Lee, was Jason. He went around. Jason was assessor. He went around and sat with advisors and asked advisors, "What do you do?" No one turned around and said, I monitor chatbots or answer emails or phone calls and so on and so forth. Individuals turned around and said, "You know what? I make sure that our borders are secure. I make sure that the streets of London are secure. I make sure that our prisons are fully functional." And that is a feeling that you just cannot buy.
That is just so good. That's so good. That also comes from quite good leadership. But you are now Director of Customer Experience Management Services. What does that mean? Nice SSCL Cup. What does that mean, and what do you do every day? What does a typical day, a typical week look like for you?
Every single day is different. It's really, really fast-paced. We deliver highly complex, secure, emotive services, critical services to central government. I basically lead the contact center business for SSCL government. We have centers in Newport, Wales, Newcastle, and Liverpool. We have 29 different organizations that we look after, and we've got some other public-facing contact center services that we deliver. There's a lot. We've got a strategy in place. Transformation takes quite a bit of my time. Great Place to Work. We've been Great Place to Work certified now for a number of years in a row. So that takes a lot of my time, making sure that my people have the right tools, their well-being is taken care of, and they still have the right skill set. And what I mean by that is making sure training is up to date, because as we know, our industry moves at pace. Quite a bit of partnership working with clients, making sure that we're working through partnership, making sure that we support them in any challenges that they may have, and also scanning the market, seeing where else there may be opportunities for us to grow as a business and continue making an impact out there in the country.
Nice. And so I want to ask you, what's your greatest achievement? Now, this week, I'd love you to say, well, it's winning Contact Centre Leader of the Year at the UK National Contact Centre Awards. That is a great achievement. But beyond that, taking the awards out of it, because you are multi-award winning, you list loads of awards on your LinkedIn profile. But what is it that you've done that is your greatest achievement that has enabled you to win those awards?
To be honest with you, Lee, is probably an answer that you may not expect, but it is the person that I've become through this industry. I always put people at the forefront of everything they do. Sometimes, once you climb that corporate ladder, it's easy to lose track. It's easy to focus on financial, mainly only financial metrics. The impact I've had on some individuals, their careers. I've had emails, I've had text messages from some former colleagues saying that they are able now to provide an amazing, I guess, lifestyle to their families, and part of it, a small part of it, is because of the support and trust and giving them a chance to actually get to that senior leadership stage of the career. So that's what I'll take away. I'm of course chuffed and proud of the awards, but you always remember how you made people feel. So
true. Who has supported you over the years? Who has inspired you?
You know what? There's quite a few people, and I'll try to mention a few of them. Emma Crow. She is Group Chief People Officer for Transcom. Declan Maguire, He works at TP. He's an executive vice president. Duncan Graham, he works central government now. My current boss, Kenny Morris, who's the managing director of SSCL Gov. A lot of, and others as well. And a lot of those individuals that have helped me in their own way during my career. And again, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for them and giving me a chance, because again, I didn't have a network. I didn't really know a lot of people. I have a very thick accent. At times I felt like an outsider as well. So those individuals made me understand how important it was to focus on myself, being me, being authentic, being, the Marco I am, and doing the great job that I've been doing.
And diversity is something, and not just diversity, inclusion and belonging and equity is something that you care a lot about.
Of course I do. Of course, because again, when I first started, I didn't feel included. I felt I didn't understand my worth. Like I said, I used to wash pots. When the restaurants used to close, I used to go and clean the floors, clean the toilets, and so on and so forth. And I never really felt seen. And I know how that feels. Yeah. And it would actually break my heart if I knew that anyone that works for me felt that way. That's why it's so important to me.
How did you get over that? How did you drive forward? How did you get yourself to a position where you are absolutely seen now? What do you think was the driver for you?
Perseverance, wanting to create a better life for myself, not letting others impact me in a negative way, sheer focus, sheer determination, and hard work. And what helped a lot as well was the encouragement of some of the leaders I mentioned earlier, because sometimes you need a bit of reassurance that you are actually going in the right direction. That's a booster for you.
So what has been the best advice that you've been given over the years? Maybe advice that you'd be looking to pass on to others as well?
Honestly, it's been be authentic, be yourself.
Yeah.
I remember in my early career, when I go into management, I try to change my accent to sound a bit more British, but I would sound silly because my accent is so thick. I just I just didn't want to feel different until, leaders told me that is why we recruited you. That is why we need you, because of what you bring, because of your true self. And that's one of the biggest pieces of advice, because it set me free. Yes. It really set me free. I was able just to focus on doing the doing instead of focusing on how I sound, how I look, and so on.
You know, it's funny. I sometimes get told I'm a bit too noisy, and I thought, maybe I should just calm down a bit, maybe just step back a bit. And I'm like, but it's me, and it is being your true self. It is going with right. This is who you are, and this is your authentic self. A great piece of advice, and it's actually something that I do see when I'm talking to folk across the contact center is the ability to come to work as your true self, as your whole self, when you're working in contact centers, which I think is brilliant. So is there any other advice that you would give to those aspiring leaders other than being authentic?
Any other advice? Our industry is changing rapidly. Make sure that if you're not already, you work with organizations like the CCMA, because I do, and my team does, learn a lot from sharing best practice. Sharing best practice breeds innovation, and don't forget the people. There is a lot of focus at the moment with AI technology, but without the right people, without the support for the people, it just becomes a very expensive overhead, and you're not going to achieve what you need to achieve.
Nice advice. So what's next for you? You've done it. I appreciate that there are some things that in the UK awards you might want to do, maybe the Europeans. But what's next for you personally? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
where I want to be in 10 years' time. Probably in 5 years' time, I'd want to make sure that the size of the business that we currently have at least triples in size. So there's more opportunity for my team to actually go to the next level, and for the leaders of the future that are coming through the ranks, keep working on enhancing the brand out there, because as we said earlier, Lee, it wasn't really well known. We used to be the best kept secret in the industry, to be honest with you. So I just want to shout and boast about the amazing things that we do, and just have a successful, I guess, 5 years.
Do you know what? You will have a successful 5 years. And it's just been so lovely hearing what makes you tick, what makes you a great leader, the impact you're having on your teams, on the people around you. I know there'll be people listening that will have picked up lots of ideas from you along the way as well. So thank you for joining me. But before you go, I've got some rapid fire questions, and they are so not ever rapid fire, but let's go with it. Did you celebrate on Monday night with a glass of champagne or a beer?
You know what? The amount of alcohol I had, I don't even remember, to be honest with you, Lee. But it was a bit of everything.
Hopefully not all in the same glass.
Yeah.
Okay, big question. Wales or Albania?
100% Albania. Wales is not even in the European.
Well, I know that the team in Wales, and I know that Sandra Busby has made you feel welcome in Wales. So
I love Wales. Don't get me wrong. So it's Albania, then Wales, then Scotland.
Ooh.
Then England. Because
why Scotland? What's your connection to Scotland?
My beautiful fiance Jennifer, she is half Welsh, half Scottish. So my kids are quarter Scottish. That's why.
Do you know what? I get that. And my last question for you: do you have a hidden talent?
Yes, I do actually. And that is, Gordon Ramsay has absolutely nothing on me when it comes to cooking. I make a mean carbonara.
Wow. So we're all coming around yours then for dinner tonight?
Anytime.
Love it. Marco, thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. And a massive congratulations again on your gold win on Monday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And hey, if you want to listen to that again, or you want to listen to other career talks, they're all over on ccma.org.uk. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.